I was a very shy kid. I would cry before giving oral presentations, I had trouble ordering food at restaurants, and I would struggle with advocating for myself and what I need. I would sometimes settle for things that weren't sufficient because I didn't want to bother people. I didn't want to draw attention to myself or cause any issues. When I finally came to grips with the fact that I truly wanted to pursue voiceover professionally, part of what initially drew me to VO was that it was seemingly solitary. I quickly learned that that is not true. You might not have to speak in front of a crowd, but voiceover is far from solitary. Two very important things I learned since I started studying and actually doing voiceover are: 1. There is more than one type of actor. Not every actor is extroverted, jumping up on stage every chance they get. I didn't have to change who I am in order to do what I love. I can be an introverted actor. And 2, I learned the value of communication. I'm Kayla B Marie, and this is Bow to Booth. In this podcast, follow me as I inquire about how to work towards my dream and explore the similarities and differences between theater and voice acting, how both areas of the entertainment industry inform each other, why theater training is so highly recommended to prospective voice actors, and how to manage performance anxiety. Episode 2: Speaking Up. While your training and dedication to the craft is important, part of navigating any professional landscape, not just the voiceover industry, is communication. Communicating with peers, coaches, engineers, and agencies is a very important part of establishing your position as reliable and available voice talent. However, as an introvert, I can attest to just how difficult that can be. My guest for today shared some incredible insights about building a personal brand and navigating the industry as an introverted adult. You might know her from her successful YouTube channel where, for over 10 years, she's been posting voiceover-related and otherwise fun and nerdy content. I am so excited to share our conversation with you. Here's Anna Brisbin. Talk to me about yourself. How would you describe your personality and what you do for a living?
How would I describe my personality? I don't know how to describe my personality, but I would describe myself, I guess Virgo. Virgo is very my personality, but voice actor, nerd, fantasy, obsessed gamer, internet person, and ice cream lover. I don't know.
This podcast is sort of an introvert's guide to navigating voiceover.
Yeah.
And for me, it took a long time for me to accept that this is what I want to do with my life. For the longest time, I refused to allow myself to even think about it. Talk to me about what overcoming shyness was like for you.
Oh my God, I can talk about overcoming shyness till the cows come home. Because I've known I wanted to be an actor since 4th grade. But I was too scared to do anything about it for 5 years. I just hated talking to strangers, especially adults, just could not talk. Basically had selective mutism where I could not speak to strangers, especially adults. And my school didn't have any sort of theater program, so if I wanted to do theater in my small town, I would have to join the community theater where I don't know anyone. They did have a youth program, so that was great, but I finally in high school got the courage to audition for Alice in Wonderland and got the part of Flower Number 2.
Iconic. And
it was so scary, so scary. I shake normally, I have an essential tremor, but when I'm nervous, it's hyperdrive. And if I'm holding a paper or something for an audition, it is shaking like a leaf. It looks so bad, but I made it through, and then I got to meet everyone and make new friends, and everyone there was so nice. And I think I just had to realize that it's gonna be even easier to make friends in that field than in my normal environment of school, because when you go from school to a theater program or a theater class or anything like that, you automatically have something in common, and it is so much easier to connect with people and make like-minded friends, and it's a lot easier than it sounds. And so that was the first like kicking down the wall, like put myself into discomfort scenario, and it was all a lot easier from there. And then for college, I auditioned for NYU, so I went from South Carolina to New York City, which was another like bubble expander or bubble burster, or I don't know. And it was scary, but after 4 years of doing theater in a small town in South Carolina, I felt like so ready for like a next step, something else, something more. So it was scary but exciting, and you just had to practice that muscle of talking to people and meeting new people and putting yourself into uncomfortable but ultimately safe positions. And I just got more and more experience of doing things that were new and uncomfortable throughout college and my training in theater there, and training in on-camera stuff there, and also diving into the internet. I think the internet helped give me a lot of confidence as well. I started my YouTube channel when I was in college, so I was able to kind of practice performing things without a literal live audience, which is safer because you can record something and edit it and not upload it if you hate it, or you can upload it and delete it. There's no... It's fine. You can just have fun with something and not put so much pressure on yourself to be perfect.
Next, I asked Anna when she first fell in love with voice acting.
I feel like it really wasn't until like college that I even thought about it, because I was just focused on theater and on camera, because on camera was the ultimate goal, TV and film. So I auditioned for what I could for film school stuff, and in my freshman year, there weren't any freshman film projects that were on camera, because freshman film students need to take baby steps. So they start with like audio dramas. So I did a couple of those, and they were super fun. And I was like, oh, sitting behind the microphone is very fun. And
it's so much fun.
No one's criticizing me for making faces, and this is great. I can just go ham and have fun, and I don't have to memorize even. So you could do just a bunch of takes. It's great. It was so fun. So that's basically when I started my YouTube channel, was the summer after that year of college, was just to look into more of that, more fan projects online and stuff. So started Brizzy Voices then, because I kind of realized that it was a job, and I was like, let's see what this is like more.
Yeah.
Still wanting to do on camera, but starting to get intrigued by the voiceover thing.
Was there a particular moment where like it hit you, where you were like, this is what I have to do with my life?
I don't know if this is the correct response, but it kind of feels like when my Pokemon video went viral, it was like, oh, maybe I'm good at this.
And you very much are.
Thanks. But like, I didn't know what was normal, I don't know what a normal range is, what people can and can't do. So the fact that people were responding so positively to me doing those impressions was like, maybe I do have like a good range, and this is something that I can look into more and try to take seriously. So I just tried to do more of that and seek out more of that, and started trying to get little jobs from my apartment in New York. Like, I think my first paid job that I recorded on a Blue Snowball microphone was this like online radio show promo thing, that it was literally just like one of those, you're listening to 104 blah, 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 and I made $150. Cool, sick, amazing.
That's so cool. Your first paid job is always crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, this took like 10 minutes. That's amazing. Yeah, so when that started happening, I was like, wait, this is awesome. If I could just get more of this.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't want to say goodbye to on-camera stuff forever, but I also would rather put all my eggs into the basket of voiceover and just do on-camera and or theater when it kind of falls into my lap. Because auditioning for on-camera stuff is so much work. Oh, God, it's brutal. The length of the scripts that you have to memorize, and it used to be driving in to auditions. Now it's more self-tapes, but now it means you have to deal with setting up a good self-tape and getting that all ready, and so it's just so much. So I'd rather just focus on voiceover and do the rest when it happens.
Subconsciously, I think watching content creators like Anna inspired my decision to start putting things up online. And over the course of the interview, I realized just how alike the two of us are. I feel like we have very similar personalities.
Yeah. Do you know your Myers-Briggs?
I do. I'm an INFJ.
Oh, INTJ/P.
I don't know. It's like my baby. I'm very attached to my personality type.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a Gen Z millennial thing, but I feel like everyone in my life suddenly knew theirs and was like putting it everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, me too.
Yeah, I feel like Gen Z and millennial love a personality type.
It's like a Hogwarts house.
Do you feel strongly about your astrological sign?
This is a really bizarre anecdote, but I'm a Leo.
Wow.
Yeah. And this bugged me for many reasons because of the Leo stereotype. I rejected it very deeply as a kid. I kind of try to ignore it now. And I also was really mad because I thought I was a water sign. Growing up, I'm a swimmer. And so I was just like, I have to be a water sign. And I would choose my sign. My parents were like, that's not how it works. It's based on the day of your birth. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm a fire sign? I don't like fire.
Oh my god.
I don't like lions. I want to be a fish or something. And so when I was younger and people would ask me, I would cry.
Oh.
I was just like, I'm not a Leo at heart. I like my birthday, but I find myself at odds with my sign all the time. I saw this thing on Pinterest once where it was like different types of Leos, and there was the quiet Leo, and I was like, that's me. That's me. I don't know if this is real or if some teenager wrote this, but I don't care.
They exist.
It's been a comfort. They're out there. Quite the tangent, but I think it was an important moment. So many people in my generation feel very strongly about their personality type or astrological sign, and while I neglected to mention it in the interview, I want to share something with you that I wish I knew when I was younger. Your personality type, your astrological sign, hell, even your Hogwarts house, those things don't define who you are. You can be an energetic ENFP and have aspirations of becoming a librarian, just like you can be an INFJ like me and dream of becoming an actor. So, let's talk a little bit about like how building, a personal brand is so useful in this industry, especially post-pandemic, with a lot of people referring to the internet to sometimes find a pool of talent.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of casting directors say that they do check actors' social media for when they hear their auditions. They try to find their social media, not to see how many followers they have, but just to see what they're like. If they're posting any crazy stuff, if they're just seem like normal, chill people to hang out with. Professional, chill, a good vibe. So yeah, I think establishing a brand is important, if nothing else, just for that, to prove that you're a person outside of your audition. Back in the day, like right before I started professionally auditioning in Los Angeles, there were still in-person auditions for voiceover. I did like a small handful of them in my first year, and then I feel like never again. But in that time, you get face-to-face interaction with the people, and they get to get a vibe from you and see you as a person and see that you're chill, you're friendly, and professional. And you don't have an opportunity to do that anymore in self-tapes on camera or auditions and voiceover. So I think social media kind of helps fill that void if they happen to search you.
Yeah. I just want to project a mix of professionalism and also friendliness. It's obviously easier to talk to people on social media than it is in real life. I have felt the need to sort of sometimes prove myself because I don't want people to discount me because I'm young. I just happen to be passionate about the work I do and seeming professional, that I don't want to become, disingenuous.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like your social media strikes a really good balance of fun and professional. You have the energy I strive to have.
Thanks. I do try to strike that balance for sure, because I do know there are casting directors out there who are very wary of the influencer actor for rational reasons. But so I try to show that I'm not just an internet person trying to use that to break into an industry where I have no idea what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a trap a lot of people fall into, and there's been a lot of discussion about celebrity voice acting, the end of voice acting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that can be attributed back to Robin Williams as the genie and Shrek and casting, mainstream actors and personalities. Today it's you bring up any big name actor who's had a role and people just lose their minds. It's easy to get discouraged, especially when you see sometimes mediocre influencer people getting acting roles or
for sure
seemingly taking opportunities, air quotes, away from people who've trained harder and want it more.
Yeah, but I've heard people talk about this. I forget who it was, but I think it's true that having a big following like that or star power or something will get you in the door, but it won't keep you there. Same with nepotism, really. Yeah. It'll get you in. You could try, you can have a big movie, but if you're not good, and it doesn't do well because of you, you're not going to get more from there.
For me, because I'm more shy and private, curating my public social media was a little tricky. For a while, my posts were strictly work-related, and I rarely shared anything about myself or my interests and hobbies. After a while, it felt stale, like it wasn't really me. Something that really helped me was realizing that I was in control. Now, looking back, it's kind of obvious, but knowing that you're in control of what you share online can help you reframe how you use it. You get to choose how you present yourself, and you get to choose what you share. Think of your feed like a collage. Post about work one day, and another day, if you want to share with your followers or peers that you went to a fun museum, post about that. You get to call the shots. What would you say is the most valuable thing you've learned from your training?
It's kind of a toss-up because probably the most important thing I learned was just to get out of my shell and to be able to do things that scare me. It's probably just that. But also on a practical side, literal side, my voice and speech class I think was pretty instrumental in.
I adored my voice and speech class.
Yeah, same. Just teaching us, one, how to breathe. So stupid that I had to go to college for that, but here we are. It was huge, and I think it's now a subconscious thing now. I don't think about it's just muscle memory. I breathe with my diaphragm, through my diaphragm.
Mm-hmm.
And that is huge, and I never lose my voice. I rarely get exhausted doing voiceover because I'm breathing from the right place.
I think sometimes the mentality is that once you have all the tools and an instructor or coach says you're ready, to just dive into things and not be scared. But for me, that advice can be a little frustrating. I would think, yeah, of course, but how? How do I not be scared? Because it's just so innately present in my mind. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I feel like the answer to that is just you have to be scared.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just do it and be scared. And the more you do it while being scared, the sooner you'll stop being scared.
Yeah.
It's just repetition. You can try to use it if it seems helpful to the character,
Yeah.
or you don't, and you just focus on the character and playing and creating the world around you.
Sometimes you can use it, and sometimes if you're really anxious and it's messing with your breathing and you're hyperventilating, you have to take it down so you can breathe through your diaphragm. Because if you're tight up here in the throat or chest, it's not going to sound great, and it's not going to be good for you.
Yeah, and if you can find any sort of relaxation techniques to help kind of zen yourself before going into something, or even just slow your breathing. I remember one of my theater summer camp things had this sort of flower technique where you hold up your hands with your fingers all together like a closed flower, and you slowly open it up as if it's a blooming flower, and when it's opening you exhale and you close it back into a bud, and you inhale and then you exhale and then you inhale, and you just focus on the flower.
Oh yeah, that does work. That's crazy. I've never heard that before.
Giving you something to focus on and slow your breathing.
I'm stealing that. Absolutely. Crediting you, yes. I think we talked about this briefly, but I do want to ask it formally. Tell me about navigating the industry as an introverted adult. Networking and creating, bonds and relationships with people.
Yeah, it can be hard because I hate networking with a passion. I never want to come off as a skis who's just trying to talk to you because you can get me something. That's my nightmare, is for someone to feel that way about me. And people do it shamelessly, and I cannot fathom. I refuse, and it probably hurts me, but I cannot bring myself to do it. I just try to be a normal person. I just try to treat people like they're normal. I go to a job. I try to learn everyone's names. I have a little note on my phone that's VO studio names, and anytime I go into a job, I write down the name of the studio and the name of the engineer and the director and blah blah blah. So because you meet someone and the name immediately goes out of your head, I try to write it down immediately so when I say bye I can say their name, and that goes such a long way for people to be like, oh, they paid attention to who I am and I'm just the engineer. That's so nice. Yeah, I think that goes a long way for people. So just treating everyone with care, being considerate and professional, not trying to stay and yap and just hang out after. You finish your job, you say thanks, and if they don't have anything else to say as far as what are you doing this weekend or whatever, just say thank you and leave. Yeah, you don't have to try to be personal friends with everyone.
I never thought about things this way. There are events and conferences specifically for the purpose of establishing relationships and networking. That's Voiceover Career Expo, put on by the Society of Voice Arts and Sciences, which is where I work full-time as a newsletter columnist and in-office assistant. But in the everyday, operating as normal can be hard, especially if you're just breaking in. I know how it feels to simultaneously want to be involved and prove yourself, and also not want to have to take the action of striking up a conversation with the intention of getting something out of it. I absolutely love how Anna approaches this. Just be nice, be normal. Get to know the people around you at a normal professional level, and your work will speak for itself. It took me a long time to accept that voice acting was actually acting. For the longest time, I would call myself a voiceover artist. I was I'm not an actor. I don't like acting. Acting is for extroverts.
And you wanted to do animation and video games and stuff, and you were still saying that? Wow.
Yeah. It was so bizarre, but I would lament to, my coach about that, and she was just that's just not realistic. And
yeah.
Yeah, I've had to accept that, well, it's not realistic. You have to sort of, if you want something enough, the fear becomes fuel.
Yeah.
And you know that you're going to regret it if you don't give it a try.
Constantly asking yourself what if is like the worst. You gotta get over that.
For a while, I felt like, is it too late to start acting in college?
No.
No.
It's never too late. Especially in voiceover. There's no one in this industry that is exactly like you. They might be a similar type, but they are not you.
The last question, it's a little redundant, and I feel bad that it's kind of about me, but if you could give me one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. That's so difficult because it sounds like you're doing everything so great.
That's so nice to hear.
I think it's just to not put pressure on yourself. To just keep reminding yourself that this is fun and this makes you feel alive, and to have fun with it and focus on the fun, and to not put pressure on yourself to be good or be better or to be liked or any of that. Just focus on having fun.
Yeah, thank you.
So nice talking to you, Kayla. Thank you for having me.
I feel so fulfilled. Anna and I are very similar, and in discussing overcoming shyness, developing a personal brand, and managing fear in the professional landscape, I felt incredibly seen. It is such a comfort to know that someone who shares a lot of my personality traits can be successful, and I cannot thank her enough for all of her kind words of encouragement. Stay tuned for the next episode, where we'll be discussing the specifics of training, the amateur voiceover landscape, and home studio setup. Thank you so much for listening. I believe in you. I'm Kayla B Marie, and this has been Bow to Booth.